your 25 years working in the advertising business, how has the role of strategic planner evolved?
Incredibly. So I think that the planning role has probably changed the most. I think the creative role has probably changed a lot because, an account man is always an account man, good at telling jokes, good at looking after the client, all this. And I don't mean to be rude, I'm not, because I was an account man for years and years. So their fundamental role is still about looking after clients, making sure that we develop the best work possible, and actually their role is fundamental to actually doing great work, because they help to look after the environmental space which allows great ideas to go and grow. Because if you don't have a client who accepts good ideas, then it's actually never going to get there. So clients need to have good account people to make work. But planning, you look at the roles that planning is meant to be doing. They're meant to be like deep thought specialists. They're meant to be, the big data analysis that's going on these days. We're meant to be really great understanding about the business. We're meant to be good at defining what the brand's about. We're meant to be great at doing insights. We're meant to be great at writing great briefs. We're meant to be good at sort of helping to get that work through research. We then come to understanding about the cultural space we're working into. We have actually got to help to pull the effectiveness paper together. And at the same time, we've got to facilitate, sort of workshops with clients. There's a massive amount of things, and almost like go back to Marketing 101. Marketing 101 says that the first thing you do in marketing is you segment. So these days, we've got to accept we're not all good at everything. I was a classic, big brand marketeer type thing. That was my skill set. Put me onto a perfume brand or a youth brand, I'll be hopeless, because that's not so much where I'm at. So we need to accept we're different, and we're seeing a very different style. With the whole opening up of digital space, we are now seeing a very different need, and we need to accept that within a planning department, we need to have specialists in different roles who understand different things, and not expect a plan to be doing everything. And part of the problem is the planner is expected to go and do everything, and it's very complicated. And therefore it means that we run the risk of getting things wrong. So you may need to have an uber planner who sits above other planners doing specific roles. And I therefore think it has changed. The other thing I'd say is, I actually think that planning in a digital age is different, but it's all the same as well. So what we have a lot more stuff coming in, a lot more data coming in, a lot more understanding about the consumer, and and actually we can more closely map all the way from first engagement through to sort of final purchase. And we've got all the data points and everything like that. So it's fantastic. We have much greater, richer things. We are doing much more clever things in terms of research to help us understand people much more. So much more data coming in. And at the bottom end, we have so many more different channels that we can express the brand through all the digital channels, through actually experiential, through classic good old-fashioned TV and press and posters, etc., all the way through to eCRM. Fantastic. But you know what? The bit in the middle is even more important, because the bit in the middle is saying, what does this brand stand for? Because we must have absolute clarity. If we didn't have clarity, we have absolute clarity what this brand stands for. Because we need to have our point of distinction, and we need to have our point of clarity to offer that promise of the brand. Because all a brand is a consistent set of promises, and we must be absolutely clear. I was speaking to actually one of the sort of heads of planning, one of the big London agencies. He said, "I have no shortage of ideas coming to me. What I have a shortage of is ideas that are relevant for that brand." So what we need to, in this bigger space we're working in, is to have absolute clarity what the brand's about and make sure we have ideas that express that. And the other thing we need to do is there's even more pressure upon getting the big idea. More pressure than ever upon getting the big idea, because with the increasing number of spaces and the places we need to be representing the brand and actually engaging with the consumer, we need to have a consistency, and we need to have the big idea. So more pressure upon the basics, more pressure upon the insights, more pressure upon what the brand stands for, and more pressure upon finding the big idea than ever before.
What is the best advice you've ever received, and do you have any specific advice for planners?
The best advice I ever got was from a lovely guy in advertising. So I first joined Saatchi, right? And Saatchi at the time was the Uber agency, full of Armani suited, really slick, sort of, really sophisticated. And I wasn't that type. I've never been that type of person. And I remember this fantastic guy called Paul, and he came to me, we went to the pub, he said, Paul, what are you trying to do? Stop trying to be someone you're not. We employed you because of who you are, and we love you for who you are, and we need you to be who you are. Stop trying to be someone you did. And that was the best piece of advice I was ever given. And I've tried to be true to who I am and not play games, because I think there's an authenticity. I think if you're in the business, we need to sell ourselves before we sell anyone else. And someone sees it if you're being false, and you've got to be true. So that's the first piece of advice. My advice to planners is something about, just be interesting. Read widely, understand a lot, get outside the brand, live life, be a human being, be a consumer, and bring that in. Because at the end of the day, a lot of it is still about common sense, and I think that, you can come up with all fantastic new, planning techniques and lots of great things. But at the end of the day, there is fundamentally, you need to connect as a human being, because that's what we're talking to. I remember one creative once said to me, he said, have you spoken to your mum about this brief? I said, what? Why should I speak to my mum about it? Because that's who I've got to sell it to. And if your mum doesn't get it, you haven't got it. And there's something about, you've got to be a human being. That's probably the best piece of advice. It's not a very good piece of advice, but it's the best piece I can give you.
Paul Arnold, thank you very much.